I want to know, who done it better? Was it Hasbro or Mattel? Good morning. This is the first time I'm actually getting up and starting filming on time. I've been sleeping in the past few weekends, and then I get mad at myself because I wait too long in the day to film, because once the sun gets to a certain point in the sky, it's right in my eyes through this window, and I like to use the natural light to help me film these videos. Anyway, not that you need a little behind the scenes. It's not that big of a deal. Anyway, so this week is going to be Little Mermaid week. I have a couple new dolls that I've been itching to get out of the box, and I have a couple other Little Mermaid themed videos that I've been really wanting to do. So I just decided to make this Little Mermaid week, and that's the only reason why, because I said so. Now, for this video, we are going to be doing a versus video, and of course, we are going to be talking about Hasbro versus Mattel. So just a little bit of a backstory. Disney usually, or in the past, has licensed out other companies to make their dolls. I think mostly it's been Mattel. Mattel has had the Disney license for a while, and like back in the 90s, they made like probably some of the best Disney dolls, in my opinion, of course, but also like throughout the 2000s and everything, up until about 2015, I think is when it was, roughly, where Disney actually took the license from Mattel and gave it to Hasbro. Now, I know that like other people have made videos about this, and there's like more than one reason why this was, but in my personal opinion, I think it was because of Ever After High. Anyway, the license was given to Hasbro, and Hasbro started making the Disney dolls. A lot of people tend to complain about the dolls that are being made and sold by Hasbro because they don't have a lot of articulation. They're kind of basic. Later on, they started doing the molded on clothing and other stuff like that. And I kind of want to make a whole video about that because I have some stuff to say about it. But I'm not going to get into it in this particular video. What I do want to talk about is the fact that Mattel got the license back from Hasbro for Disney. So Hasbro is no longer going to be making the Disney dolls, or at least the budget ones, and Mattel is going to be starting making the dolls again going forward. Now, the interesting thing that a lot of people are noticing and pointing out is the dolls that Mattel is making are literally the same dolls that Hasbro was making, just in Mattel's art style, basically. Now, I heard that the reason for this is to make the transition from Hasbro to Mattel easier, and it was actually a calculated, planned choice. But after this initial release, we're going to start seeing different things from Mattel. It's just for the initial one, Mattel basically took over the production of the existing things that Hasbro was doing there at the end. So that's why you're seeing a lot of the exact same thing. You know, the dolls that have the molded on outfits, but with like the jewel top and stuff like that. And they look so similar. And even in this case, we're looking at the Little Mermaid dolls where you've got a Ariel as a mermaid, but then also having her pink dress. So I saw that and I was like, I have to do a versus video. It's been a while since I've done a versus video, but I want to know, who done it better? Was it Hasbro or Mattel? And I saw this particular doll when they started announcing, or no, not announcing, when the product images leaked for the Mattel dolls. I saw this one and I was like, hey, I saw this at the store, and that looks like the exact same doll. I immediately knew I wanted to get this doll because I wanted to do the comparison. So I bought this during December and got it on a really good sale for, was it Black Friday? I don't know. It was during a Christmas sale. So I actually got this one really cheap. I think she was originally $20, and I got her for I want to say $11 because of the sale, but this is a $20 doll. And that being said, I got this doll for also $20 at Target. I did pay full price for this one because by the time I was shopping for it, there wasn't any sales going on, and this had only just been put on the shelf, and I grabbed it like right away. Correction. Okay, they are the same price, but they are not $20. They are $22.99 each. which basically means they're $23 each. But they are the same price. Both of these dolls sold for the exact same thing. They look like they come with the same items, same number of items and everything. Oh, no, there's a little bit differences. Okay, so we're gonna go through everything that these have, and I wanna see who did it better. Was it Hasbro or was it Mattel? First, I'm gonna do like the normal review for both of these dolls, and then at the end, I'm gonna go down, and I have a point system. I'm gonna go down for like each of the different sections, like pricing, hair, packaging, clothing, all that stuff, and I'm going to assign points for which I think did better, and we'll do that at the end of this video. So if you wanna see how I rank these dolls, then stick around for that. Let's just jump right in. Now, since Hasbro came out first, I'm going to do these like in kind of chronological order. So I'm going to take a look at the Hasbro doll first. Now, this is the Disney Princess C Styles Ariel, and this is one of like the later releases that I think so. I'm not sure exactly like what year everything is because like I said, I think that Hasbro got the license in 2015. This says 2018, so I wonder if this has been on the shelf for a while. I don't know when this actually came out. This one is obviously 2023 because it came, or well, technically 2022 because I did see it. You know, some of them started popping up on the shelves in December. But anyway, so like I said, C Styles Ariel. She comes with a doll dressed in her mermaid outfit. She also comes with her pink dress from the film, as well as a tiara and some shoes for her to change into. So here is the back of the box. You've got some beautiful photography of the dolls here in both outfits, as well as some little animated friends here. So here is the Mattel version. Now they changed the name for this one. So the Mattel version is actually called the Disney Princess Ariel 2-in-1 Mermaid to Princess doll. So if you're looking for it online, that's how you would find it. Both of these are available at Target right now, by the way. I'm pulling up my information from the Target app. So this doll is made by Mattel, and it comes with an Ariel doll in her mermaid form, as well as the pink dress from the film. She also gets a tiara and some shoes. Here is the back of the box, once again with some beautiful photography of the doll in both outfits, as well as some animated friends. Although this time it actually has Flounder and Sebastian, whereas on this one we don't see Flounder or Sebastian, and instead there's just some generic fish and seahorses from the film. Now I want to get both of these dolls out of their box so that way I can see what they're about, and I'm really interested to see like the fabrics that they used and stuff like that. Also the hair fiber, because a lot of the Disney dolls have been using polypropylene, both at the Disney store and Hasbro, so it's not just a Hasbro thing. And I want to see if Mattel is also using that, or if they've used a saran, because in the past they've used saran. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm really hoping for saran. Anyway, let's get these out of the box. I will be right back, and we'll put these two ladies up against each other. Battle Royale style. Be right back. You guys, I got them out of the box. And okay, I have to say that I am definitely a fan of The Little Mermaid, and Ariel is one of my favorite characters to collect dolls from, aside from Alice in Wonderland and a couple other specific ones, but she's like definitely one of the tops. So I'm just really excited to have both of these dolls. Now, that being said, here are both of the dolls side by side. Wow, on camera they look very different. Well, I guess in person they do too, but the camera's like really like showing how pale she is versus how tan she is. Anyway, there is some very noticeable similarities, but also some very noticeable differences between these two dolls. Of course, I'm going to go in chronological order, so I am starting with the Hasbro doll. So this is the Hasbro Ariel doll. Now, she has turquoise eyes, which is not very movie accurate, but I love it. I love this color. I think that she looks so good with the, like, they're almost green eyes at this point, but they're kind of like a teal, and I love the color they chose for her eyes. If I was to make like a custom doll that was like my perfect doll, I'd probably give them this color, like teal eyes. I don't even know what other things, but I know that I'd start with there. Anyway, the hair is this bright, vibrant red. It feels not nice. It's actually I feel like this is a nylon, because it's definitely not saran. Yeah, this must be like a nylon or something. I mean, it feels way nicer than polypropylene because it's a lot smoother, but it still has that issue where at the ends it feels frizzy. So this is definitely a slightly cheaper hair quality, or I don't know if it like cost less, but it doesn't feel as nice as some of the other dolls that I own. That being said, while Hasbro has been giving almost all of their dolls polypropylene hair, Ariel always seems to be the exception. And that's also the case for the Disney Store classic dolls too. All of the other dolls have like a nylon hair, or not nylon, like a polypropylene hair, but Ariel has a really high quality nylon hair. So that's always weird that Ariel always gets the best hair. Now, I don't know if that is because Ariel is favored because she's so popular, and maybe they want her to do better, so they, you know, put more effort into the Ariel dolls because they sell more. I don't know if it's that, or if it's just because of a coincidence and the color choice in the different hair fibers. They were able to get the bright red colors in nicer hair quality. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think, if it, which, you know, the reason for why the Ariel dolls tend to have better hair than the rest of the line. But anyway, it's still not the best hair fiber, but you know, it definitely feels nice, and it's much nicer. I have a Pocahontas and a Jasmine doll from Hasbro over here that I had gotten out for a different thing that I was doing, and their hair is definitely polypropylene, and this does feel better than that. So she comes as a mermaid, and she has this bubblegum pink like bikini top with the clear rubber straps. She has this tail here that is like a teal green kind of material. It feels kind of like a polyester material, and then it's got this like metallic applique that does go all the way around to the back. Thank you. And then, you know, you've got this plasticky, papery kind of pink fabric for like the fin around the waist, and then we've got her what is this called? The fluke? Or I don't know, I get my fish terminology wrong. But anyway, so this is a purple kind of like mesh material. This feels a little stiff, but it's not bad. It's not a chiffon. It's more like maybe a tulle, like a slightly softer tulle. So it's not bad, but it's, you know, it's just a nice little sheer fabric. Her feet do not come out, which is interesting because her feet do come out, which I'll show you here in a second. This doll has the basic 5 points of articulation. So there is movement at the head, at the shoulder, and then there is movement at the hips. Her legs can go out to the side a little bit, but they're just restricted in the mermaid tail, so I'll have to show you that in the dress. Speaking of which, here is the dress. The dress, it's this loud, you know, like plasticky feeling material. Plus it is completely covered in glitter, and the glitter is coming off. I don't even know if you could see that. Like, yeah, you can kind of see the glitter is coming off of the dress onto my hands, which is not my favorite. And then the material that they use for like the sleeves and the hip padding or whatever, the peplum, that's what it's called, is the same as that they use for her tail. Let me get her switched over into her second outfit really quick with the shoes and tiara, and I'll show you what she looks like in that outfit. Okay, so here she is in her second outfit. So she is wearing the dress and she has her shoes and her tiara on. Oh, the shoe fell off. Okay, I'm gonna leave the shoes off for now because I don't want to lose them. This is the issue that I have with the Hasbro dolls, is their feet, the shoes kind of come off pretty easily. But anyway, so the tiara is nice. You know, it's just like this kind of headband shape, and it was pretty easy to just put it on, and it stays on actually pretty nice. And it doesn't even have to really be like attached or anything like that, not coming off. So, and it looks really cute. It's got like a little seashell molded into it with some swirls and other things. The dress fits well, and it was put together pretty well. There is some issues with the way that the peplum is lined up. So it kind of like poofs up kind of weird on this side for some reason, and it's just kind of like the way it was aligned when it was sewn together, but otherwise it seems pretty good. And then just to kind of show you how much range of movement she has here with her leg, like I mentioned, her leg can go all the way back and all the way forward, so she can sit down. Here are the shoes. The shoes are gold to match the tiara. They're really cute. They kind of look like little waves with pearls seashells. They kind of look like clamshells with pearls all over them. There's no painted details or anything. They're just a solid gold. And with the shoes, there is no left or right. They're identical, and they're just kind of like a mirror image or whatever, so you just kind of put them on the feet. I have to admit that I am not a fan of this face. Like, the way that Hasbro was doing the faces, like, some of them were okay. Like, specifically the Style series, those ones looked okay. I wasn't too upset by those, but for some reason, Ariel just always looks a little strange to me for, you know, when Hasbro did it. Next up, let's look at the Mattel Ariel. Now, her hair is defying gravity right now. But I want to talk about her hair because I'm really excited because it's saran, or it feels like saran. It is so heavily gelled that I can't really tell, and I will have to wait until I wash this gel out of her hair, because, like, oh, okay, it's not very crunchy, but and I guess this is probably hair gel that would be easier to brush out if you wanted to, but I'm gonna wash it out later. But like at the roots where there's no gel, this kind of feels like saran to me. Like I said, with the gel in, it kind of makes it hard to tell what the hair fiber is, but I'm pretty sure it's saran, which makes me very happy. That being said, I'm not mad at the like bouncy curls, because I think it looks kind of cool, because it kind of gives this illusion that she's underwater. And out of the box, the hairstyle's interesting, you know, like, look at that. That's so fun. So anyway, so here is Ariel's face. In my opinion, it is very movie accurate because she's got her blue eyes and her red lips. And I think that it just works very well. Both of these dolls, by the way, both of them have the hair part on the correct side, because Ariel has her hair parted on her left side and then has the like swoopy bang. So everybody knows that that's like the thing. But for some reason, there's a lot of Ariel dolls out there that don't follow the rules. Now, this Ariel comes with a little hair barrette. It's just a little purple starfish, and it matches her top. Now, her top is a cotton material. It's a really nice material with this kind of ruffle sleeve that goes over, and it kind of like insinuates the seashells that she normally has for her modesty. And then going down here, we've got her tail. Her tail, once again, kind of feels like a cotton polyester material. It's actually quite nice. And then, you know, it's got this is definitely a tulle. This is straight up a tulle material. It's, you know, the see-through kind of purple for the fin around the hips, but I like that it actually kind of matches the outfit using the purple there. Once again, this has a metallic applique on it with the scale pattern with seashells and starfish and everything, and it does go all the way around to the back. Thank you very much. And then her fin, the tail at the end, is also a tulle kind of material, and it's basically the same kind of material as this, although this feels just ever so slightly more floppy, but it's the same material, just in this time it's more in a light green color, so it's actually pretty movie accurate. Now, this tail is actually very similar to the older Mermaid Barbies, where the bottom of the tail is open and her feet can stick out. And I don't know exactly why they did that on, like, if they were worried that it was going to be too long or what, but I guess it's just to prevent. Oh, you know what? I wonder, because I actually have a Little Mermaid doll from a few years ago, and her pointed toes have like rubbed the scales off right here because of where they're at. So I'm wondering if they just did that to prevent that from happening, so let her toes kind of stick out. Plus, you can't really see them when you're playing, you know, like they're covered by the fin, so it's not that big of a deal. One thing I forgot to mention is both of these dolls have an elastic waistband at the waist of the tail, so there's no Velcro for that, but the back of their top is Velcro. Let me go ahead and put her in her pink dress really quick, and then I'll be right back. All right, so here is the Mattel Ariel in her pink dress. So I'm going to start at the top. She has her little tiara here, and it is also a little clamshell design with a little bit less swirls and other things. But this one actually, I want to say this one actually kind of stays on even better than the Hasbro one, because it's a little bit smaller than the head. And then when you put it on, it's got like those little rounded, is it going to show? There we go. The little rounded parts right there, the beads at the end, that like basically pinch onto the head, so that crown is not going anywhere. So, and it looks really nice. I think technically you're supposed to take the little hair barrette off for when she's in this outfit, but I do my own rules here. So this dress actually looks really nice. You know, I think this is pretty movie accurate. And as far as like the color goes, the design of the dress is definitely different. You know, it's definitely more simple for the sake of it being a playline doll. But I think that the color scheme they got pretty good. This is like a tulle material, but it's kind of softer feeling. The rest of the top of the dress here is like a polyester kind of fabric, so it's actually kind of nice. I wasn't expecting that. And then the bottom down here, this is almost like a satin material. Like, it's not that plasticky stuff that we see on a lot of like the Barbie fashionistas and everything. Not gonna lie, I'm actually quite surprised, like pleasantly surprised with how this dress feels. As far as the construction, it looks pretty good. I didn't line up the Velcro very well on the back, but other than that, the way it's sewn together looks pretty nice, and I don't see any major issues or anything like that. Once again, I am having an issue with the shoes, so let me show you the shoes really quick. But here we go. Here is the shoes for the Mattel doll. They are slightly higher heel, and once again, they kind of have like seashells and everything, but this is done a little different. You've got like clams in the back with a little spiral thing for the heel, and then there's like pearls and stuff on it. This one's more of an open toe, and these are pink to match the dress. Now, since I've got her in her dress, I can kind of better show you the articulation. Once again, same basic 5 points of articulation. So you've got the movement at the head, at the shoulder, and at the hip. I lost her shoe. But at the hip, her leg can kind of go backwards, but she can also sit down. Her hip joint was a little stiff though. I had to kind of work it to make her sit down. Now, one thing I really want to focus on is just how pretty her face is. This is the new faces that they are giving the Ariel dolls. I will say that they did use the UV printed resin method for her eyes, but it looks like her eyebrows and her lips and teeth are done the classic way for the screening. I'm actually okay with the UV resin thing because it doesn't really look too uber pixelated necessarily, but I know that this method is easier for them to avoid wonky eyes, so I think that's part of the reason why they choose to do it, is they're able to get the screening a little bit more accurate, and I do like that. And there might be like a little bit of pixelation, not as bad as the Barbie fashionistas, but I think that's also due to the fact that her eyes are so much bigger than Barbie's. Okay, so now we've looked at both of the dolls. I'm going to actually switch them back into their mermaid outfits, and then we'll get started on the versus point system. So I will be right back. All right, I've got both dolls back in their mermaid tails. Let's start adding the points up. So if this is your first time seeing any of my versus videos, the way that I do this is I have a point system set up, and I just kind of go down the list and assign a point to one or the other doll, depending on which one I like better or think that, you know, did better in that particular category. And it's going to be, of course, as always, in my personal opinion. If you have a different opinion than mine, that is totally fine, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments down below. Just to kind of go over them, the categories are price, packaging, hair, body/articulation, clothing, accessories, a gimmick if they have a gimmick, and style or personal preference for the overall aesthetic or design of the doll. So let's start at the very top. Price. Now, when talking about the price for these dolls, both dolls are $22.99 at Target. They may be different prices at other places like Amazon. I don't know if they're available at Walmart or not, but since they were both the same price, I'm going to say that this is a draw. Both, you could say both get a point or neither get a point, however you want to do that. But they both have the same price, so I'm just going to skip over this category for right now. Next up, let's talk about packaging. The packaging for both of these is very, very similar. On both of them, you can see a picture of the doll wearing the second outfit. Everything is displayed very, very similarly. We have some character art here on the front, and they're both like a blister pack style. I would give both of these like an equal point for the packaging, except for on the back. When we look at the back, you can see for Hasbro, they just have some generic fish and seahorses, which I love seahorses. Seahorses are my favorite animal, so like I'm not gonna get mad at that. But I really like the layout of the photos here, the way it's done on the back of the Mattel packaging. Plus we see both Sebastian and Flounder, and that makes me think of the movie a little bit more than what they did on this one. This almost feels like a generic mermaid doll, but this is Ariel and this is the Little Mermaid. I do also want to point out that Hasbro used a little bit more plastic, whereas Mattel kind of cut back on their plastic. Just for example, the little dress forms that their dress came on, the one for Hasbro had this plastic dress form, whereas the one for Mattel just had this little cardboard cutout that kind of popped away from the back, and they were able to save a little bit of plastic that way. Overall, in this case, I'm giving the point to Mattel. So as I'm sitting here editing this video, I realized that I didn't give a point for the hair category. So I'm gonna do that now. Now, both of these dolls I've had a chance to wash and brush out their hair, but they do have different hair fibers. Now, the Hasbro doll does use a polypropylene hair. I have to admit, it is much nicer polypropylene than several other dolls that I already have that also have polypropylene hair. It's just a nicer grade, like kind of a lower grade nylon, really. But after brushing it out and everything, it still feels like it's going to have the frizzy ends to the hair, and I just don't like the way polypropylene feels. That being said, after washing out the gel from this doll's hair, I'm so happy to report that she has Saran, and Saran hair is just softer, it's nicer to play with, it doesn't get those like crunchy ends the same way that polypropylene does, and overall I just really like the way that this one looks. Also, right out of the box, the Hasbro doll's hair was flat and a little messy, but the Mattel doll had her hair styled up in like really pretty curls and everything. So coupling the style out of the box as well as the hair fiber that they used, I'm definitely giving the point to Mattel. All right, next up, let's talk about the body and the articulation. Both of these dolls have the same basic 5 points of articulation, so I would say that this is a draw, but I did notice that the Hasbro doll had a slightly better range of movement in her legs and her hip joint, as well as being a little bit easier to pose. The Mattel doll, it kind of gave me a little bit of resistance, whereas the Hasbro one is just a little bit easier to pose. I would say that this is a draw because they have the same number of points of articulation, and most of the differences are purely cosmetic, but because Hasbro did have a slightly better range of motion in some of her joints, I will give the point to Hasbro. All right, next up is clothing. Let's talk about the outfits, and of course, I'm talking about the tails and the dresses. Now, I was surprised. So, well, okay, first of all, I was not surprised about the Hasbro dolls. I have some of the other Disney Hasbro dolls, and this is exactly what I was expecting. You know, it's kind of that plasticky, papery feeling material for the skirt, covered in glitter, which I'm not a fan of. It's not bad. Like, it's a fine dress, and I'm glad that it's not molded on. But I have to point out that I don't like this material. I don't prefer this material, I should say. It's just not my favorite. Also, the top is kind of a plasticky feeling material as well. Also, when you compare the two, this one looks like a bright, like hot pink, whereas this one looks more like a subdued kind of pink, and this to me looks a little bit more movie accurate, so there's that aspect. I will say that I am a big fan of the rainbow metallic pattern that they have for the tail that they gave the Hasbro one, but her fin is purple, which is not movie accurate, as well as her top is like a pink color, and I think they've been doing too much pink recently. Like, I love pink, don't get me wrong, but it's not movie accurate. Whereas for this doll, although the ruffles over the shoulder are not movie accurate, the color choices are movie accurate, with the purple for the top. Not so much this part right here, but then the fin in the bottom is movie accurate color-wise. Also, the materials that they used for the Mattel one are surprisingly higher quality than what I was expecting. They just feel nice, and they're not like that loud plasticky feel. The skirt for this is a little bit more on the satiny side. The top is more of a polyester. Even the tail is made from like a more of a polyester material. This one's a good material as well, but this is nicer feeling, and it was easier to put on and take off of the doll. And then like this is not that plasticky material at all. This is like a cotton material, much higher quality. So I think for clothing, I'm definitely giving the point to Mattel. All right, next up is accessories. Now, both dolls did come with a gold tiara. Oops, she got a hair there. Okay. Both dolls came with a gold colored tiara. I will point out that the Hasbro one is definitely more yellow, whereas the Mattel one is definitely more metallic gold. Both dolls came with a pair of shoes. The Hasbro one is this yellow gold color that they chose, and the Mattel one is this pink one. I will say that I think that the pink shoes do go better with the dress than the gold ones do. So for the most part, both of these dolls came with the same exact accessories, just slightly different color variations, except the Mattel Ariel did also come with a little hair barrette right here, which you can take off and you can wear yourself or put on your other dolls or whatever. So just because the Mattel one did come with one additional accessory, I am giving the point to Mattel. The next category is gimmick. I'm actually going to skip over this because there's not really a gimmick to this doll. I mean, both of them are a 2-in-1 style Ariel doll. They're both dressed as a mermaid and they both come with their pink dress. So there's not really anything different between the two of them. So I'm just going to skip over this and neither get a point. Last but not least is the style or the overall design category. And like I said, this is kind of a wild card. Obviously, we're not going to need it, but I am going to point out that I'm going to give the point to Mattel because if I just look at these two dolls and look at the overall design, I definitely like the way that the Mattel doll is designed. First of all, I like the fact that she's more tan. She's a mermaid. She's going to be out in the water where the sun is still going to be able to hit her, and she's going to be more tan. Although, you know, it could be argued that mermaids, if they're like down in the deep, the sun doesn't penetrate that low. So I guess they could be more pale. But overall, I just think that she looks nicer when she's tan. Also, the scale. I just happen to like this scale more than I like this scale. Even though I love like Ever After High and Monster High, and they kind of have that big head, little body kind of cartoony aesthetic. But when you put these two next to each other, I just happen to like the Mattel scale better. But really, the deciding factor for me in this case is the face. You know, this face does definitely look like a fish. That wasn't shady, I swear. But I mean, her eyes look like they're going in two different directions. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of this art style. Like, not to criticize the artist or the designers of this or whatever, but I'm just not a fan of the way that this Ariel looks. I haven't really been a fan of most of the Hasbro dolls. There's a couple exceptions, but like Mulan, for example, I think looks gorgeous. And I think that Hasbro did a really good job for all of the 3D princesses. So for Rapunzel and for Elsa and Anna and even Moana, I think that Hasbro did a really, really good job for those. For Ariel and like Snow White and a couple others, not so much. So I'm not a fan of this face, but I love the way that the Mattel, sorry, I love the way the Mattel Ariel looks. I think she is so pretty. She looks very sweet. It looks movie accurate, not as movie accurate as the Disney Store Classic dolls, mind you. The Disney Store Classic dolls are the best Disney dolls on the market. I just want to put that out there. But aside from that, I love the way that the Mattel designers or the artists at Mattel or whatever, I don't know, whatever. I like the way that these ended up. So yeah, when I'm just looking at the style, I definitely like the way that the Mattel doll looks more than the way that the Hasbro one looks. Well, in this case, I'm giving the point to Mattel. All right, so that is all of the points, and if I've done my math correctly, which I'm pretty sure I did, Mattel is the winner of the verses. Now, once again, this is just my personal opinion, obviously, but when I look at everything from the hair to the materials that they use for the outfits, just to the way that she's designed, overall, there's no competition here. I love the Mattel dolls. I do think that this is a good doll. Like, I'm not mad at it, but because they're the exact same price, if these were both on a shelf and I had to choose one or the other, I'm definitely going for the Mattel one, for so many reasons. Like, the face alone is like a big deal for me, but the fact that she has saran hair versus the, you know, even though it's a nicer polypropylene, it's still polypropylene. But yeah, no, I would much rather get the saran. The materials used for the outfit are really good, and just everything about this doll is definitely better. I think that it definitely was an improvement. Sorry, Hasbro. Like, I love the other things you do. I'm still a My Little Pony stan. But yeah, I definitely think that Mattel knocked it out of the park and definitely improved the dolls from, you know, moving from Hasbro to Mattel, which I definitely think was a smart move on Disney's part after seeing this doll. So anyway, that is going to be it for this video. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. If you agree with my point system, or if you would have assigned the points a little differently, let me know what your thoughts are. I'm curious to know if you agree with me or if you know, added the points the same as I did. I'm gonna get going for right now because it's actually breakfast time now. I'm hungry, and I did actually get filming much earlier than I thought I was gonna. So I am gonna go, but thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye! What was that? Bye! Bye. If you like this video, you can let me know by hitting thumbs up. You can check out some of my other videos by clicking one of the links on the screen. I post new videos every week, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified every time I upload. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.